All right, greetings, friends, and welcome to the first episode here at the Power of Three Programming. My name is Jeff, and I am a software engineer with over 25 years of full stack software development in small scale enterprise software application. And this is my channel where I am going to do little software development projects where I want to learn something or maybe keep up my skills or maybe just have some fun. So, my little personal channel to explore things in software engineering and full stack development. So, come along with me for this ride and let's talk about what we're going to do. So, for our inaugural episode, I wanted to program a DJing request management system. So, for a while, for about 12 years, I had a side gig as a DJ. And so I DJ'd school dances and weddings and other events and even did some emceeing. And as a part of being a DJ, you have to be able to take and manage requests. And I usually just did that with a pad of paper and a pen, and people would just write their requests. And I was always just like, oh, it'd be so nice to have like an online system that could help with that. And maybe 10 years ago, I researched um, what was available on the internet. And if memory serves, at the time, there were request systems, but I never really liked any of them because they tended to make requesting and managing requests a little more complicated than I wanted it to be. Now, for preparation for this episode, I went back and looked, and now it seems to be what I would call a slightly more mature space with some systems that are straight and to the point, managing requests and letting people know when their songs are going to be played. So the goal for this project is not to try to beat those and make something better. I just want to explore and have fun. I have ideas about what I want to do and some fun things that I would like to put into this. But I'm not trying to make the new and best latest project. We're just having fun here, okay? So in this episode, we are going to be setting up the foundations for this project. So just to give you a quick sense of what the overall scale in the end, when we get this done, many episodes from now, we are going to have a UI that people at a party would interact with to send in their requests. And then we will have another UI, whether it's in the same site or a different site, that DJs would use then to see and manage their requests. And then maybe we'll have an administration AI that a company representative would use to help manage the system and troubleshoot problems and things like that. So these UIs will all rely on an API, and the APIs all will have managers and a database underneath that. So we have to do some initial setup to make all of these little projects possible. So that's what this video is going to be. Just doing some initial setup of some projects, no real deep development or scaffolding of anything. We might scaffold a couple tables using Entity Framework, doing an initial compile, making things work, and then we'll be ready for our subsequent episodes when we can really dive into our code. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so what we're looking at here is our Visual Studio project, and we have our main solution. And inside that solution, we have 4 projects that we set up. We have a project that we use to store our entity framework context, our data project, and then our domain project, which is storing some basic tables that we scaffolded out for this system, some things that I knew that we were probably going to have. We didn't go very deep into it, just a few tables. And then right now we have an empty project for what I call managers. So this is where our business logic managers will reside for the time being. And nothing in there right now. No logic to manage at this point, but we will start adding managers as we go along. And then we added in a test console application that Entity Framework could use when we did an initial build of our database. This, as you can see, I have it marked as remove. And so this means I will just trying to remind myself that later we will be removing this because in subsequent episodes, we will begin to add in our API, and Entity Framework will be able to begin to use the API. So if we take a quick look at our SQL Server Project Explorer, we can see that we've we built our database with Entity Framework, just using our add migrations and then finally update database. And we've got our tables, our initial tables that we think that we will be using all set up and ready to go. Folks, we're going to be approaching this project in sort of an agile method here. Nothing that you see today is written in stone, and it will definitely change as we go along, as we figure out how this whole system is going to work. I have an idea, but ideas change as we go along, and we can never know everything from the beginning. And then finally, as a last step, we've got our GitHub repo all set up and ready to go to help us manage our changes. All right, let me add in these closing comments here as we go out the door from this first episode. As a 25-year software engineer, a lot of times I come into projects that are already fully set up or mostly set up. So all I have to do is get myself connected to the project, download the code, and start learning how to use the code. This was different for me, setting up a project from scratch. It presented some challenges, and that's fine. We're here to learn, because I think a lot of times us developers, we do walk into that situation where things are already kind of set up for us and we just hit the ground running, ready to go. But it's a different struggle when you have to set something up on your own from the beginning. There are all sorts of little errors and problems that you have to work through, and this was no exception. All right, friends, I just want to say thank you for joining me today on this inaugural episode of the Power of 3 Programming. Not too much exciting in this episode, just laying that groundwork so we can really start running and writing some code in subsequent episodes as we start working full force on our DJing system. All right, folks, thanks for joining. We'll see you later.